Welcome to my video series, Keep Your Book Alive in 5 with me, Sharon Halliday, the Book Sherpa. This is where in 5 minutes or less, I will have a timer to give you my short, sharp Sherpa secrets. Try saying that 10 times. And this is where you'll get my best advice for getting your book out of your head and onto the page. I am wearing my trusty branded merch. I am Writer Hear Me Roar t-shirt. And if you're interested in getting your very own version of this, pop it in the comments and I'll be in touch about prices and sizes depending on where you are in the world. But first, a quick intro to me. I'm going to start the timer. 5 minutes, here we go. I loved reading and writing from a very early age. And it was around the time of I turned 11 that I won a Henry Lawson Award for poetry. Now, for those of you playing at home, Henry Lawson is a famous Australian bush poet. And I think what happened is in that moment, that's not it yet, they called my name to accept my award. And it was like someone had flicked a switch. And I realized that writing was something that not only was I good at, but also something that I loved. And there's a life hack right there, follow your bliss. So I decided that in that moment that my dream was to become a published author, but it would take me 26 long years before I would actually get to write my own book, Messages from the Heart. In fact, I became an international best-selling author first by being a contributor to 365 Moments of Grace. This little number here went #1 in Amazon in the US and Canada within hours of being released in about 7 categories. So I had become a columnist, Ask Sharon, and I did that for all of 2015. And then the following year, I took a whole year to edit my book, and that's when Messages from the Heart was born. But it was a long journey. And I realized that along the way, I had all of this experience being a writer and I guess the pitfalls and the perils of writing and all the emotions that you go through as a writer and wanting to become a published author. And so now I take all of that experience and my practical advice and I share it with others who want to conquer their Everest, because I believe writing a book, it's such a big dream that it's just like your own version of conquering Everest. So that's why I'm now referred to as the Book Sherpa. I guide people to the summit of their dreams. So let's get into today's Sherpa secret for keeping your book alive in 5. From the moment that you declare, yes, I want to be published author, I want to write a book, something magical happens. It's like the universe hears you and suddenly there's all this conspiring and orchestrating going on, and you start to get a massive download of words and ideas, and it just floods you. It's like you're inundated. So my #1 hot tip for aspiring authors is to capture those words. And to do this, you must be ready with some form of method. So whether that be capturing notes on your phone, which is a favorite because who hasn't got their phone with them 24/7 just about. So it can be in an app like Notes, that's my favorite. But you've really got to take advantage of the words and capture them in some way, because you've got to appreciate that you're being given them for a reason. And in my experience, if you don't capture them as they come through, what happens is they disappear. You always think, oh, I'm going to remember that later. Not going to happen. It may come back in some other form, but what happens is that exact golden phrase or that inspiration and idea that you had in that moment dissolves and dissipates, and it's pretty much gone. So don't be like I was many times, curled up crying because I had too many times where I hadn't captured those words and I'd lost them forever. So capture. So I'll share as quickly as I can before the timer runs out in a second. Some of my favorite ways. You can use a serviette or the back of a docket. Not very, it's practical, but it's not very good long term, especially if they get damaged or wet. The Notepad app on your phone, as I mentioned, awesome. Don't worry, I'll put all of these options in the description so you don't have to worry about them. And Otter app is one of my absolute favorites because you can record your own notes. And there's another method, but I think I'm going to have to save it for next time because the time has just run out. So another time I'll get into one of my favorite versions is the A to Z of note taking. And you've always got a notepad and pen next to the bed for those early hour moments of inspiration. That's all we have time for today. You've been watching the Book Sherpa, and for just $7, you can get my mini course, 3 heavy hitting hacks to get your book out of your head and onto the page. You will find the link below. And if you're loving this series and there's more videos to come from me, be sure to like and subscribe. And remember to smile on the way to the summit.